Hello, welcome to Tea Time.
Hello.
Our theme this month for May is being in nature. And at that, we'd like to say frequently, especially when it's this nice out. So thanks for joining us. And we'll start with what's new. What's new with Tricia?
Yeah, we've truly been blessed. We've had a week of some awesome weather in May, and I've been busy in the garden, just getting some seeds planted and looking after some perennials, moving some of my indoor starts, which you've seen before, moving some of those indoor starts outside. Haven't really been very successful, some die-off happening. So that will be something that I'll have to maybe learn to do a little bit better next year. But some of them are surviving, some of them are not. But anyway, that's fine. That's okay. It's a learning experience. So I've been busy with that. We've got some nets and stuff set up in the back. That's our badminton
net there.
We also have a little volleyball net set up, so we've been spending time outside with the kids doing that. And just, I mean, I'm sure everybody, just like the outdoor work is non-stop. There's like
there's lots to do.
Lots to do. You set up yesterday. We have bees coming in June, so we're going to try that this year as well. So you were out making
clearing a space for the bees, or where the bees will be set up, and because the bee equipment just arrived also.
So
4 big boxes of equipment. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
I don't really know. It's all new to me. So the equipment came yesterday. I opened up one box and went, oh, that's a little overwhelming, so I closed it up. But then I started to like open it up, so we got to make some boxes. So we've been busy doing that stuff. And I'm trying to think of what else. You moved the chicken coop.
The chicken coop has been in a shed and is now moved out, so the hens now are like in the grass, I guess, with their feet all day long. Like we usually leave them in the bottom of the chicken coop is fenced in. It's a portable chicken coop, obviously, so we leave them contained in there till about 10-11 a.m. or so, just to guarantee where we most of them lay their egg before 11. So if we do that, then we know it ends up in the chicken coop. But some of them prior, we used to let them out first thing in the morning, and then they'd be gone, and you'd find a sash of eggs like under the rhubarb patch. 3 weeks later, you'd find like a dozen eggs. So anyway, we leave them in there, and then at 11, then they go and they have free range of the whole property.
And totally destroying my garden, but that's another story. Free range chickens means that you have to do lots of fencing to help with the garden or watch them. So that's always frustrating, but we get through it. Usually by June everything is established and the chickens leave things alone, and if they want to eat the lettuce by then, go ahead and eat the lettuce, because it's a little bit too bitter for us. But we never talked about our tea.
No.
What tea are you drinking today?
I have this tea. It's called Wild Heart. And I've had it before. It's a crimson maple, which is pine needle, sweetgrass sage, Ceylon black tea, purple cornflower, organic maple syrup. And last time I commented that I'm not a huge fan of black tea, and I'm still not. But I thought it was interesting that the mug and the packaging have some similarity with kind of the color schemes there. But anyway, maple.
So you were called to pair them together.
I was called to pair them together. Sometimes and the maple was what drew me, not the black tea part. And what have you got?
Well, I was really craving a mint tea this morning, but we didn't have any mint. We didn't have any mint tea. And I am growing some mint, not enough to harvest and use in my tea yet. So we had this tea, this awakening tea, and it's got some mint in it. So that's what I decided to use today. So I get a little bit of that. And mint and nettle is the second ingredient. And this year I'm really trying to, with my garden, not just use what's in my garden, but also preserve. I don't do much preserving. So preserve what's in the garden and also preserve what is on our property. And I see the second ingredient here is nettle. And I just harvested some nettle last week and dried it. So as soon as my mint's ready, I'll be able to make tea very similar to this. So that'll be exciting to do.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what else were we going to chat about today? We were talking about what's new kind of with Zeal, what's been going on with Zeal. So for you've kind of been busy taking on these other projects, but you have been doing some energy medicine sessions.
Yeah, I've been busy with house projects and renovations and things at the house. But yeah, as far as Zeal goes, because I've been putting other time into some of these renovations, I haven't done as many energy medicine sessions lately. But I do have, typically, I generally have a Monday afternoon or Wednesday afternoons openings outside of personal training clients where I have time set aside, or those are blocks where I can book in for energy medicine sessions. But I want to share a little bit of story. Someone that I had a session with not that long ago, this individual had some ringing in the ears. And during the session, with that information, as we gathered at the beginning of the session, I did spend some extra time in and around the ears and working with tuning forks and some intention of clearing some of that. And there was a bit of success in that. In that 1 year was cleared, and I haven't spoken to this individual since if it's come back or not. But there was a clearing in the ringing of the ears. So that was really really interesting. But I'm not sure where we had the success on the one year and not the other, having done some of having done the same medicine or same energy movement for the benefit of both ear. But the body does have a feminine and a masculine side. So maybe the individual on the table was more in tune with I'm trying to think, I believe it was the left ear that cleared. So maybe there was more in tunement with the feminine side, and that being why there was more of a release. And maybe there's not as much alignment with the masculine on the right. And maybe that's why that right side is still blocked. But you were going to comment something there?
Well, I was going to say the ringing in the ears wasn't something that was new. That had been something that had been chronic like their whole life. So to have some relief, I think they said that it was almost felt weird because they've always had this ringing in their ear. So, and I get ringing in my ear quite often, and I find especially if I get headaches, and then I do you do some energy medicine with me, it feels like it's just getting like drawn out. Whatever blockages are there are just getting drawn out, and it feels the relief feels really, really good. So yeah, that's good. And the
excuse me,
Jeff's been getting more energy medicine session clients as well, because I've been keeping him busy, because I've been onboarding a lot of people into my metabolic balance program, which is the weight loss program, and based on your blood work, and it's working with me for 6 months. But part of that program is that within the first couple of weeks, we really try to get you in for an energy medicine session, just to help rebalance everything before you start really getting into this clean eating and balancing of your hormones. So just another step to help get you there. So he's got a couple more sessions coming up with those clients. But and like I've been busy onboarding clients and getting people started in that program. And I just love the program. Like, it really gives women and men, most of my clients are women, but it really gives women a strategy to follow that is just food. There's no shakes, there's no supplements, it's just food, and the foods that are right for you based on your blood work. And everybody just feels so confident, and you get such a good kickstart the first couple of weeks as we do this cleanse and we follow this kind of strict conversion phase. And then we get into flex meals and just really bringing back all of the meals that you like, but just incorporating them in a way where we're measuring portions and helping you kind of feel empowered as you go through these 6 months, and just know this is what I eat because this feels good for me, and this is right for me, and this is the portion size. But just so much success. I love this program. Anyway, if you are interested, just send me a message and we can chat a little bit more about it. But fantastic program for weight loss, especially balancing hormones. We really work on balancing hormones, and then the weight loss happens, which is lovely. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the other part I want to mention, not for Zeal, but is new, is so much soccer in the last 2 weeks. Oh my
gosh.
The kids, Gabby and Owen at high school level, have been into soccer season. So there have been, because the soccer season was a bit condensed, with restrictions and things, they've jammed a whole bunch of games. So they've had like 2 or 3 games a week. And the regular season portion has just finished. So the boys, senior boys there have moved on into the what do they call it? The quarterfinals. And the girls made the quarterfinals because there's only 18. So everybody makes a playoff. So there's at least one more soccer game next week. But there's lots of soccer that way. And then I'm going to be coaching Foster in his Napanee soccer this summer. So yeah, there's lots of that. Starting to think about, how do I get my head back into the mindset for coaching and getting in contact with parents and stuff and that. So at this point, it's all exciting. I know sometimes by the end of the season, I'm like, oh boy, you get a little bit challenged or tired of the soccer season, but I'm looking forward to it at this point. So yeah, there was that.
Yeah, Jeff was coaching our daughter on the sidelines during her high school game. She was so mad at him.
I didn't even coach. I didn't even coach her. I didn't even coach her.
Oh no, you're coaching.
It was a teammate, a cousin, whom I felt could maybe make us just slight change in position. So I called out the person by name and just said, "Move ahead." And Gabby called me out on that when we got home. She's like, "Stop coaching. You're not the coach."
It's very funny.
Anyway,
it's hard when you are like, if you are like competitive. I don't know, have played sports and you know the game and you feel like, you know what I mean. And every parent goes through it.
I'm not saying like competitive, I got to win every game, but competitive like that there's a learning that could happening to understand the game better, or just to get the basics of the game. Anyway, it was just humorous.
But not only that is challenging, it's also challenging in terms of day to day. And I know a lot of parents go through this as well, is like, how are we scheduling in meals? How are we prepping meals and making sure that there's something good for the kids to eat? Now, luckily, our kids are getting a little bit older. So some nights we've actually done something really simple, such as like spaghetti. And we say, okay, we're going to be home in, an hour. Can you start making spaghetti? And they will. So as long as we have the ingredients out for them. And then when we're home, we try to make something a little bit more intricate, a little bit harder, but we try to keep things pretty simple. So even when we do get home, everything is ready. Sometimes I'll prep stuff in the morning or prep stuff at lunch so that the meal to cook it is only going to take about 15 minutes and then it's done. Or just something that's very simple that maybe one of the other kids can make. So, if you can work on those skills with your kids, just like boiling water to boil noodles, how to brown ground beef, warming up sauces or creating sauces, like that can go a long way in terms of like helping get some meal prep done.
Yeah, and then I guess you get them involved, so maybe they have a bit of interest, or then they can say, if it didn't taste good, then maybe they've overcooked it or undercooked it, or there's something there for learning. But I think we're getting a little off topic.
Okay,
we're gonna.
I'll reel back in. I was gonna talk a little bit more about that, but
we're gonna talk about being in nature frequently for May. So we want to talk about things like vitamin D, right? Like being outdoors. Why would you want to be outdoors? Well, why not? In the fact that there's vitamin D. Now, mind you, as we're sitting here, there's the odd black fly flying around, but that's part of nature. But yeah, vitamin D. I know we do, and maybe many of you do, supplement through the winter. Being in North America, we don't get a lot of direct or efficient vitamin D through the winter months, or late fall, or even early spring. Like I'm thinking like February, March. But now the sun's at a fantastic angle, and there's lots of potential for natural vitamin D. So if you were supplementing, you could probably start weaning yourself off of that vitamin D and just getting outside with bare arms or face where you can to get the vitamin D in. And it doesn't take long. Like what do you like 10 or 15 minutes of sun exposure?
10 or 15 minutes of sun exposure, just your bare arms, is going to give you about 10,000 units of vitamin D. Now, when we say bare arms, that's bare arms. That means we have not put sunscreen on. We don't want to block that sun. So we have to do a little bit of caution, right? If you're concerned about the sun and your skin and skin cancer, of course, we need to have some concern there. But so maybe you cover your face. So maybe you wear like a wide brim hat and you cover your face, maybe you cover your shoulders, but can you expose your arm for 10 or 15 minutes during the day to absorb some of that vitamin D? Or can you expose your lower leg or your foot to absorb some of that vitamin D? And then proceed after is that the right word? Proceed after that by covering up, so wearing long shirts, using the UVB protection if you want, sunscreen if you want to,
or timing it right. We know
Yes.
that midday is when the sun is going to be at its zenith, its peak, and be the most potent. So if you're out in the morning at 9-10 a.m., you probably not a concern of being burnt. Or if you're in the evening as the sun is setting and it's 6-7 o'clock at night, you probably don't need a sunblock at that point. You're probably safe, but you could still have your bare skin moments there. So you're being wise to not get hammered on by the rays of the sun there, but you can still get the benefits.
Yeah. So I've weaned off of vitamin D. Are you taking any vitamin D still?
There were a few days back, there was a gloomier day. I had taken one then, but I haven't had any in the last few days. No.
Yeah, I've weaned off this week, and I think depending on the weather, it looks pretty good here for the next little while, that we should be okay. And I'm out gardening all the time. Now, having said that, I do believe that I think I got sunstroke on Monday, and I think that our youngest son also got a little bit of sunstroke as well last week, because again, we were sitting at soccer, and I went to the soccer game. It was at 5:15 in the afternoon outside. I did have sunglasses, but I didn't have a hat, and the sun was just directly on us. And for some reason, that time of day, it got so hot. And then I was feeling really ill that night as soon as we left the soccer field, and the next day. And I was asking to borrow your hat for a little bit, because I was like, oh, I feel so terrible. So just also being aware that we're kind of sensitive this time of year as well, because we're not used to it. We're not used to the heat. We're not used to the sun. So to take some precautions for sure. I've been sending my son to school with a hat every day. So when we're outside, then our dog likes to protect us. So she's her
barking.
job.
She's heard something. So while we're on the topic of the sun, I want to also mention like sun gazing. So looking at the sun itself is very good. Timing is important. With naked eyes, I would say in the morning, in the first hour of sunrise, or in the evening, the last hour at sunset. So when the sun is in the horizon and it looks orange rather than this vibrant, blinding, yellowy white light, right? When it's that orangey color, if you have 30 seconds, 1 minute, if you happen to be up or in the morning at that hour or in the evening at that hour, and the sun is rising and or setting, and you're gazing at the sun, you get these great photons from the sun that really help energize your body, as well as can help sync in your circadian rhythm. Your brain will naturally recognize that it's morning, the sun is there, or it's evening and the sun is there as well. So it can help sync in your circadian rhythm. So sun gazing, you can do some research on that yourself, but don't go out in the middle of the day and try staring at the sun. No. Not the best idea.
But I think too, if let's say you're not an early riser and you miss, that sunrise, it's okay. I think if you get out before 9 a.m. and you get outside and just expose yourself to the sunlight, not that you have to stare at the sun at that time, because it's going to be kind of potent, but that's definitely going to help your circadian rhythm and help you get in a better night's sleep.
Absolutely.
And then with a better night's sleep, you're balancing your hormones.
Yeah, for sure. And what do we want to talk about? Grounding?
Yeah.
Grounding or earthing. If we say earthing or grounding, so we'll talk about one more then. So earthing and or grounding, being in contact with the earth or with the ground. So preferably if you have, we've talked about this before, I think, like if you're barefoot, or if you have a natural product like a cotton or a wool sock or a leather moccasin or something like that, where you can get a nice transfer of energy easily from Mother Earth through your feet into you. The bottom of your feet, I'm not going to hold my foot to the camera, but the bottom of your foot, near the ball of your foot, there's it's called the kidney 1 meridian point, the beginning of that kidney meridian, but it also has another name about the springs, wellspring of life, is often translated as an intake point of energy. Now that meridian flows from your foot up to your collarbone. So you could think of that as receiving the energy from Mother Earth, drawing right up, and then you could think of like your bladder meridian comes off your eyebrow and over your head, and then comes off your pinky toe down out of the earth. So there's a nice flow there, and that they flow from one to the other. The bladder meridian coming up and over the head and down your backside out. Your pinky toe would exit the pinky toe into the earth, and then it would come back up into the kidney meridian in the bottom of the foot. So there's a nice circuit there. So you could think of as you're earthing, as you're grounding from an energy perspective, you're releasing or have the opportunity to release negativity or stagnant energy out of the body or emotion or whatever it might be
through one meridian, and
through
then
the one meridian,
and then uptake
and
good
then
energy
uptake through the other.
Okay.
So there, if you want to look at it that way, I don't know if you've got want to chime in on earthing or grounding in some way.
Well, I think also just, you know, the art of gardening, and you know, we think about getting our feet into the earth, but also getting our hands into the earth as well. I'm putting you on the spot here, but any meridians that run through your hands that would do something similar?
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, there's all your fingertips have meridian beginnings or endings. So all of them, there's
okay. So
there's lung, there's large intestine, the pericardium, triple warmer, the heart, and the small intestine. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in and out through the fingers. But yeah, you would energetically, right? Like the lung comes off and down and off your thumb, and you think of the meridians as one complete system. Like as was saying, the bladder comes out and then back through the kidney. The lung you think of it exiting the thumb, if that it extends from the body, and then it flows right back in along that large intestine, that finger. So they just basically flowing out. Same with the pericardium coming off the tip of your middle finger, and then will come back up your ring finger and your triple warmer. So they've got a flow, and then the other flows as well. You get your heart meridian comes down the palm and to the pinky finger nail there, and then across to the other side of the pinky nail is the small intestine that flows back up. So they each have a flowing cycle. So sure, if you're in contact with the earth and getting that magnificent energy from Mother Earth, there again, one meridian might be releasing out, the other meridian has a potential of picking up or drawing into the body. And then sure, there's microbiome out there in the garden. So if you, you may be taking some of that in through your skin, unless you're wearing gloves, because you might be near something like poison ivy or something, which makes sense. But if there's an opportunity to get your hands a little bit dirty and play in the dirt,
but we have to remember they're like microscopic, right? So as you dig the dirt, they're being released, and you're inhaling.
You could be inhaling that stuff too, so that as well. Again, outside of molds, there are good benefits to that. So
yeah.
And then just walking or being in nature tends to give you a nice shifted mood. Like if you feel have a bit of malaise, but you walk around and you look at the flowers, or you hear the birds chirping or something like that, it can give you a nice boost in your day for going for a walk in nature.
And this week has been, I mean, every day something has been changing. I can't believe the leaves that have been popping out. Like last week at this time, it was the trees were bare, and now we've got leaves, and even just the blossoms that are happening. If you look through like farmers' fields, I know we've got some wild apple trees that are blossoming, our cherry trees are blossoming, some tulips are out. So it's you just want everything to slow down, because you know that this time is very short-lived, and we just long for it all year long, and it's here. So just take a walk in nature, and take a slow walk in nature, and just acknowledge and show some gratitude for what you've been waiting for.
That new energy, that new growth, and exactly, gratitude's a good way to approach it. So I think that's a good note to end on, gratitude. So let's offer a little gratitude. Thanks for joining us for tea time, and you can catch us again in a couple of weeks with we'll have another go on tea time, and we'll talk a little about a few other ideas for things you can get benefits from being in nature. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.